This conference will now be recorded.
Hi everyone, good morning. This is Arvind.
Good morning, Avin. So can someone from Visual Path confirm me to start it? Or still we are waiting for more people to join? Okay, I got the confirmation to start. I hope everyone is able to see my screen, right?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So my name is Ankit and I'm having 10 years of experience in Oracle technology. Started with my career with Oracle Solaris, Oracle Linux, and Oracle Enterprise Servers. Then I moved to Oracle Engineered Systems like Supercluster, Exalogic, and Private Cloud Appliance. Then I started my cloud journey with Oracle only with OCI Classic, and from last 2 years it's OCI, or you can say OCI Gen 2 hardware. So basically, my day-to-day work is to architect new solutions, design designing is my key thing. My primary role is to design the new solutions whichever we are getting from customers. It may be new cloud build, or it may be migration from on-premise to cloud, or it may be migration from any other cloud to Oracle Cloud. Okay, so like before starting this demo or like in this training, so I would like to hear from any one of you, like what will be your expectation from this demo, and like what are the topics you are looking for and from which background you are. If anyone can brief me, so that it will be good for me to start this demo in that direction.
Ankit, this is Arvind. So myself, I am doing Oracle Application DBA. I'm working on Oracle Application DBA for past 2 years.
Okay, nice.
So in my company, there are so many other like Fusion and JD Edwards and OSC and so many other things we are working on. So usually I'm experienced on Oracle Apps DBA only. OSC is also is working, but I am not working in OSC. So I want to learn this thing.
Okay, okay, nice, nice. So, like any one of you have worked on any other cloud like AWS or Azure or any knowledge on any other cloud, so that I will start then beginning with the cloud only. Otherwise, I will directly jump into Oracle Cloud. Okay, so silence mean no one is having cloud knowledge here. So I will start with cloud only then. So first of all, I'm taking all of you as a application like application DBA or any other application on it may be Fusion or any other Oracle technology. So like if you are working on any Oracle technology, so it's better to go with Oracle Cloud only rather than going to AWS or Azure. So like Oracle started this cloud journey little late than Azure and AWS. So they came late in the market, but their target audience or the target customer was very clear. They want to hit enterprise customers and the customers who are already working on Oracle database or already they have Oracle hardware or running any Oracle application like Fusion or any EBS or PSoft or any other applications. So they are looking for only those customers. They are not like AWS or Azure, like the new people who wants to move to cloud. They are not looking for that. Obviously, they are looking, but their target audience
Ankit,
or target customer
can
is
I ask you a question? I have one thing
yeah,
in my.
yeah, sure.
Actually, I'm working on Oracle Apps DBA. Is it good to move to learn and move to Azure or AWS?
No, I'll suggest you to move to Oracle Cloud only. The reason behind is I'll explain in my coming slides also. So there is
Okay.
one slide. The fourth slide is why Oracle in cloud infrastructure, and I am taking one separate session for DBAs also. So why a DBA should choose Oracle Cloud rather than AWS and Azure? Because the total market is captured by AWS and Azure already. So why we should go to Oracle? Why any DBA should learn Oracle Cloud? So before starting this only, I will answer it. Suppose you are working on Oracle Apps DBA, or suppose or any Oracle DBA. So now Oracle or the future of database admins will be very less. Oracle itself is saying that future for Oracle DBA will be taken care by Oracle only. This I hope you heard about autonomous database.
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
everything, yeah. So everything they will only do. So the good thing is, the best thing is for DBA is you should move to cloud. Move to cloud with your database skill. You can help infrastructure team to migrate their databases because 80% of work will come as database migration. Because application migration is a very small thing. With a tool you can migrate, but database migration there are so many types of database. There are so many strategies behind this migration. So you should come to cloud, help the infrastructure team in migration. Then it is very easy to learn this compute, storage, and networking. It's not like on premise. It's not very complicated. It's very easy. Obviously, I am from the background of compute, storage, and networking. So for me, it's very easy. But for you guys also, if you start learning, cloud is purely UI based, first of all. So you need not to worry about the command line and so many things. So with the UI, you can learn very easily compute, storage, and networking. And the fourth plus point is database. And Oracle is only the provider who are focusing on databases only. All other cloud providers are focusing on their applications. They are focusing on cheap virtual machines, cheap Docker, Kubernetes, and all these technologies. But Oracle main focus is on autonomous database, their database cloud service, their Exadata as a service, their rack. So for anyone like whose background of database, they should move to Oracle Cloud only. If you are having background of
So
Linux operating system, storage.
actually, we are working on Oracle Fusion ERP cloud service. So it is comes under OCI.
Yes, it's come under OCI Generation 2 PaaS service.
PaaS service, yeah.
Yeah, PaaS service. So it comes under OCI PaaS only.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So I'll explain you what are the services comes under IS, what are come under PaaS, and what are under SaaS. So now Oracle is also transferring their PaaS services to SaaS also, like Analytics Cloud or Integration Cloud. So Oracle main focus is they should capture their whole market who are using Oracle applications, Oracle database, Oracle hardware, Oracle Linux, Oracle hypervisor. So all should come to Oracle Cloud, and over a single OCI console, they can get everything. They have already launched big data service also, AI also, and there are so many other solutions like Kubernetes as a service, or you can say database is already there, applications are already there, Java service is already there. So everything they are moving into cloud under one console, that is OCI console. So if you are from application background, yes, for the PaaS service, I'm not the right person. You have to learn yourself the PaaS service. But how the PaaS service works in the background, and with the PaaS service, how you need to maintain your infrastructure. For that, we will have this training. And by completing this training, or we can like elaborate more in future, you must complete the certification in Oracle Cloud, because certification include your applications also, database also, and your infrastructure also. After completing the infrastructure certification, you can move to your specialized skills, maybe DBA or maybe application or anything. So in Oracle also, like if you go to attend any Oracle training, they will also say you must understand fundamental of cloud, then architect, and then move to your specialized skill. So suppose I am from infrastructure background, so I'm in the field of professional. If you are from database, then you should do autonomous database certification. If you are from your like HCM or any other application, you move to your that skill. But the basic fundamentals are common for everyone, either you are professional, either you are database or application. So in this demo, I want to show about the fundamentals only. With these fundamentals, your cloud fundamentals, your Oracle Cloud fundamentals will be clear. And it is like you can say must to everyone to learn these things, because without this you will not be able to understand this cloud world. You can say this is the entry gate for the cloud world. Otherwise, if you go to autonomous database, there is no scope for you. Oracle is doing everything itself. They are doing everything autonomous. You need not to log in also. They will take care of all your queries and all. Same thing applied to analytic cloud. Same thing applied to EBS system also. They will take care of everything. So what you need to do, you need to learn these things. You need to maintain your environment. You need to maintain your infrastructure. Okay, so I don't want to scare you guys, but this is a reality. So let me start with the fundamentals. Okay, so this is regarding Oracle Cloud infrastructure fundamentals. So OCI is offering IS, PaaS, and SaaS. Oh, so before going to IS, PaaS, and SaaS, I want to tell you about what is public cloud, what is private cloud, and what is hybrid cloud, and nowadays multi-cloud also. So whenever you go into, you will speak to any cloud admin, they will talk like, yes, I'm working on public cloud. Or if you talk to any customer, they will say, I don't want to move to public cloud, I want to be in private cloud. And someone will say, I want to maintain my hybrid cloud. Or some customer like who are having Linux plus Windows say they want to go for multi-cloud. So what are the difference? I will not take much time into this because everything is available on the Google. So public cloud is a very fine example is our OCI, Azure, and your Google Cloud or AWS, all are public cloud. So in public cloud, your environment will be like you will get a console over a public internet and you can access your environment, and all, and the hardware whatever you will use will be shared among multiple customers. So that is public cloud. With the name specific, it is publicly available for everyone. And then it comes under private cloud. Private cloud is like one fine example is suppose Oracle OMCS. If you are working on Oracle products, so you heard about Oracle OMCS teams and all. So what they are doing, Oracle is having their own data centers. Over the data center, they have separated the hardware. Suppose if I am one organization, I'm a banking organization in USA. So I will say I want a data center in USA, North America, suppose, or anywhere my hosting applications are there, and I want a separate hardware for that. So Oracle will provide that hardware to them over a data center that you can call it as private cloud. It can be on-premise in customer place, or it can be on by any other provider. So there are so many private cloud providers in the market, but nowadays there is very less future in private cloud. Then hybrid cloud, as the name suggests, the combination of private and public. So what will happen? Suppose I'm a banking customer, or I'm from any other background where I want to learn, I want to run my applications on premise only. But there are some applications which are web based, which are not that much secure, or I want to move to cloud. So in that combination, I can use hybrid cloud. My less sensitive applications over public, and my most like financial data and all in private cloud, and we can connect them via the fast connect or VPN connections. So that is hybrid cloud. And nowadays the fourth term is also there, multi-cloud. And the finest example of multi-cloud is Oracle Cloud and Azure. So Oracle and Azure announced that they are going to interconnect their data centers, and they have already connected it in Phoenix, Ashburn, and in Japan region. So what is going to happen? I'm having one client also. I can take one example of Gap. So what they are doing, they want to run their applications on USA, Ashburn and Phoenix, DCDR setup. And what they want to do, they want to run their Windows application and their SQL application over Microsoft Azure. And they want to run their Oracle database and Linux application over OCI. And they want to interconnect that. So Oracle and Azure announced that via their Fast Connect and their Express route, they has connected both, and now people are using it. So this is multi-cloud solution. And not only this is the interconnect solution. We can also connect AWS with OCI. There is a separate procedure for that. With their VPCN or VCN, we can connect it via Fast Connect. But that is a separate procedure. But a finest example of interconnect is Azure and OCI. And we are having customers who are using this. So that was from private cloud, public, hybrid, and multi-cloud. So if you have any question, you can ask.
Hi, Ankit. Sriram here.
Yep.
You said private cloud is nothing but Oracle provides data center as per customer requirement, right?
Yes, not only Oracle, there are so many cloud providers in market. Like Wipro was also one of them. Accenture was also providing some. Like what they will do, they will put their hardware on their location. Suppose Wipro will keep your hardware on their premise, on their data center, and everything like the security and everything will be a network and the electricity, everything will be maintained by Wipro. But application and everything will be owned by you. So as a customer, what will happen? You will not have access. You need not to bother about the security, electricity, infrastructure, cabling. No, you just need to focus on your application. But your infrastructure will be secure. It can be like this, or it can be like this. You can ask Oracle, like, put my hardware on my data center, and I will rent it. Or Oracle is naming it as cloud at customer thing also.
Yes, yes, that is what I want to ask you. Yes, I got the answer.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, it may be both way, on premise on your data center or on Oracle data center.
Yes, both comes under then private cloud.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Welcome. So if we don't have any other questions, then we are moving towards these services. So these services are common among all providers. It's not about OCI. It is common in OCI also. It is AWS, Azure, GCP. All are following this slide, you can say. So what is happening? So there are so many types of customer, or there are so many types of customer using Oracle technology. It may be Oracle hardware, Oracle hypervisor, application, database, anything. So suppose then we have categorized this cloud environment into three: infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. And if you go to this diagram, we are I have categorized between like client manage, and then this light blue is in Oracle manage. You can take example like this. So in infrastructure as a service, what the cloud provider will provide you? They will give you networking, they will give you server, they will give you storage, and they will give you virtualization. Virtualization, you can say hypervisor. So all these things will be managed by Oracle. I'm taking the name here Oracle because we are talking specific to Oracle. So everything will be managed by Oracle here. And what you need to do, you just need to go to the console, go to compute, select operating system, and build your machine. That's it. That will be a purely operating system machine. You will get the operating system. Like if it is Linux, then it is free from Oracle. If it is Windows, you need to buy the license. So you need to buy your operating system license or operating system, what you want to learn, what you want to run. It may be your middleware, it may be your database, whatever it is. That is your responsibility. For Oracle, they will give you a finest networking, a virtualized networking, a virtualized storage with redundancy, virtual servers, you can say physical server, or you can say bare metal servers, they will provide you. And underlying hardware, underlying virtualization, everything will be managed by Oracle. So most of the people are using this IaaS because they don't want to go for PaaS or they don't want to go to SaaS. They can make your infrastructure, and if they want to build their application, they can use it. So you can say OCI started with this only, infrastructure as a service. Later they added so many services. Nowadays, I think on monthly basis they are adding some 2 to 3 platform services on the cloud platform. So for the IaaS, best example is your bare metal servers or your virtual machines. These are example of your IaaS. Second thing is PaaS. In the diagram only you will come to know, like networking, storage, server, virtualization, operating system, middleware, and your runtime. Everything will be managed by cloud provider, or you can say Oracle. The client need to manage your data center, your data, and your applications. So, for example, database as a service, or I can say DBCS, is the example of platform as a service, or your autonomous database is example of platform as a service. So what will happen? Suppose I'm going to Oracle and I'm going to build a database. So what I need to go, so previously what will happen? You need to create a server first, then operating system, then packages, then your database, binaries and all. But now what you need to go, just go in the click on the database service, you will get the option VM, rack, Exadata, bare metal. Click there, do some next, select your version, and your database is running. Within 2 minutes, your database will be running here in the PaaS service. And in the PaaS service, the patching and everything will be taken care by Oracle. Yes, patching time you need to decide because it may require downtime. But the patching and everything will be coming to Cloud Console. You need not to download anything. You need not to do anything. Just go there, go next, run pre-check, and install your database or upgrade your database. So this is platform as a service. One more example I will take with respect to application, Oracle Analytics Cloud, OAC. That is in very boom stage nowadays. Like analytics companies are using OAC. So what will happen? You need to do anything, just select the OAC image, create your instance one time. After that, forget it. Everything will be managed by Oracle. They will give you a link. You need to integrate with your application, and you are fine with that. This is your platform as a service. I think OAC, your EBS, DBCS, all are example of platform as a service. Then SaaS, software as a service. So you need not to worry about anything. Everything will be taken care by Oracle. You just need to pay for your application. Suppose Gmail is, or any other mail system is finest example of software as a service. You need not to do anything. Just go there, type your mails, send it, your data, everything will be taken care by cloud provider. Or in Oracle, there are so many SaaS things are like HCM, and OAC is also now come under as SaaS. EBS is also coming under as SaaS. So now they are moving towards platform to software also, software as a service. So it depends on the customer which service they want to choose. And like from the left to right, you can say cost will also vary. In infrastructure as a service, they will charge you only for CPUs. In platform as a service, they will charge you for their services also. And in software as a service, they will charge you huge because you need to maintain anything. With respect to security, yes, IS, you will have more control on your infrastructure. In platform, little less, and in software, you will not have any control on security and any customization. So this is your IS, PaaS, and SaaS models in any cloud model, you can say. So you can ask me anything if you have anything from this slide. Any example if you want to take for your for the area of your expertise, so that we can explain it better.
So Ankit, the PaaS and SaaS is my Oracle is providing, right? And we are handling the application. So it is a private or hybrid?
Okay, so you are connecting two things now. Good. So it will be public. If you are using Oracle Cloud and you are using any platform service, it will be comes under public cloud only. See, there is difference between this slide and the last slide because I have not include that slide in my presentation. That's my fault. I was not aware about the audience. So public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud is depends on your hardware. Where is your hardware? Where is your infrastructure? That is your public, private, and hybrid. And here we are talking about the responsibility. Who will be responsible for what? So when we are talking about IS, PaaS, and SaaS, then think about public cloud only. Public plus hybrid. Think about this only. No one is going to buy PaaS service on a private cloud. That was a, you can say, if we are talking in you can say 2014 or 15. So that was the thing which was on boom on private cloud. But nowadays you can think only of public cloud. So if you are having any application like yeah, please.
If Oracle is maintaining these services, because they are only doing upgrading and everything, as a DBA we are just migrating and maintaining start and stop and everything. Those things we are doing as a DBA support. So, but right. And some other activities like major activities, the Oracle is doing itself. So it means the servers are itself are in the Oracle database center.
Yes, everything will be an Oracle data center, but the difference is you will get everything on your cloud console, on your internet cloud console. You can log in from anywhere in the world, and you can do your patching, you can do your upgradation, you can do your start stop, or you can extend your storage for anything. If you want to do, you can do from anywhere in the world through internet.
Oh,
but in private cloud that will not be the case. In public cloud also, everything will be in the Oracle data center only, but the difference is you can maintain it, you can monitor it, you can admin it from anywhere in the world over internet or cloud console. But in the private cloud, it will be an on premise. data center will be there. You need to connect your VPN or anything, login into your VM. There will be no UI, there will be no cloud support, nothing. So let me come back to private cloud again. So I think that might one term that confuse you guys. So in private cloud, my way of maybe the way I explained you may be different. So in Oracle, if they are providing the private cloud to someone, so they are not providing any service there. They are just providing some server, storage, network interconnect, that racks they are providing. Everything you need to manage there. Got it? But in Cloud Console, that virtualization, hypervisor, everything will be managed by Oracle, and they will give you a console, and over the console you can select and you can choose your compute, you can do anything. But in your own premise, you are the people who are going to pay for the hardware, you are going to pay for everything. But the only thing is that that will be under on premise, that will be under security, and that can be any provider, any service provider, or it can be you also, it can be your own data center also. So that is your private cloud. Or you can say the legacy system, you can think 10 years back when this UID and other Indian customers also moved to some private clouds under some other like vendors. So I can give you some examples also. There are so many banks, what they are doing, they are buying on property in Delhi and in Mumbai, and they are putting their data centers there under some other vendor security. So that is private cloud. In public cloud, everything is different. You are having a cloud console. Over the cloud console, you can select your compute also, that is infrastructure as a service. You can select DBCS, big data service, OAC, or anything that is under PaaS, and you can go for SaaS, like your functions and all. So that is your SaaS. So over one console, you can select anything. I think I cleared now regarding this private, public, hybrid, and IS PaaS SaaS. Both
Yeah,
are
I get
different
it.
things.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Anything else from this slide?
Ankit, what is bare metal and virtual?
Yes, yeah, I'll come into that, but let me answer you first. So look at this slide. Infrastructure as a service, networking, storage, server, and virtualization. And over this, it is showing operating system. So what will happen if you are from the virtualization background? There are two things are always coming: virtual machines. Virtual machine is your over a bare metal server, or you can say over a server. Bare metal is nothing but a complete server. There is no virtualization layer is there. A complete server. Over a complete server, we are running a hypervisor, and over a hypervisor, we are distributing our bare metal into multiple virtual machines, VMs. So that is virtual machine, and bare metal is the, you can say, in the diagram also I will show you. Bare metal means it will have all server, storage, and networking. There will be no virtualization there. That will be a complete server, complete bare metal server, you can say. There will not have anything. You need to install the OS there, you need to take care of virtualization there, or you can say you need to maintain everything there, bare metal. So bare metal servers are commonly used for databases. So database guys need to more focus on bare metals, because bare metals can have huge size and they are faster. They are, you can say, a complete Oracle machine. So if you heard about Oracle servers, there are some servers X5, X7, X6. These are Oracle hardware server series. So in the cloud also you can you can get these series of servers completely free for you, and that is bare metal. A complete hardware, or you can say a blank machine with a huge computing, is called as bare metal. You can select your processor, you can select your memory there, and you will have a bare metal server there. Is it fine?
Yes. Okay.
So okay, anything else? Okay, so let me move to next slide. So I think this is the slide. Why OCI? We are having Azure, AWS, GCP. Then why you are learning OCI, or why this OCI in the market? So main thing I already explained you. OCI or Oracle Cloud is available in the market just because of their database, their applications, and they're captured in the market, in the on-premise market. You can go to any client, any bank you can go, any telecom provider you can go, any mining company, wherever you will go, somewhere Oracle presence is there. Maybe in terms of any application, any database, it may be your operating system, Oracle Linux, or Oracle Solaris in the later days, and I think Oracle hardware, Java. So everywhere Oracle presence is there. So if you are moving your enterprise workloads to AWS and Azure, so what is the problem there? Problem is AWS don't have their hardware, they don't have their own operating system, they don't have their own hypervisor. In terms of Azure, they are having their operating system, but that is very specific, that is Windows. They are using some other vendor hardware. Hyper-V also they have, but that is also not sufficient all the time. They don't have their storage, they don't have their own networking. Same thing applied to Google Cloud. They don't have anything. They don't have operating system, they don't have hardware, networking, server, storage, they don't have anything. So if any one of your friend is working on Azure, so what is happening? In some day Outlook is not working, Teams is not working, or you can say Azure VMs are rebooting itself. Why? Because there was the justification will come like there was some bug in the hardware. So bugs will come because in the underlying hardware they are having multiple vendors involved. They are having storage they are using for Dell, server they are using of HP, networking they are using of Cisco. So there are so many vendors are involved, and when there are so many vendors, so many hardwares are involved, complication will be there. And if you are having a patch of Cisco that is not sufficient for IBM, it will reboot the machine. So these things are coming in AWS also and in Azure also. But in terms of Oracle, we are having our own servers, that bare metal servers which I tell you about, X5, X6, X7. We are having our supercluster system, like engineered system like Exalogic, supercluster, Exadata we have. And then we are having our own operating system, Oracle Linux. We are supporting Ubuntu, Red Hat, and Windows also, but we are having our own operating system, Linux. Then our own OVM solution we have, that virtualization manager we have. We are not using any other VMware or anything. We are using Oracle virtualization manager only. Over it, we are having our own database. We are having so many applications for each industry. We are having application. So if you are a customer and you want to move to cloud, there is one cloud who is having everything. And now they are having interconnect with Azure also, because we don't have Windows. And if you want to run Windows and SQL, you can go to Azure. So as a customer, in coming years, Oracle Cloud will have a boom. In last 1 month only, Oracle Cloud won some 2 or 3 big deals. If you heard about Zoom, 8x8, and Cisco, they are going to use Oracle hardware, or you can say Oracle Cloud. So nowadays the trust is coming more from the customers. So you can say Oracle Cloud will have a good future in terms of this cloud environment, or is a cloud race, you can say. So let's come back to this slide. So any question if you want to ask, whatever I have explained now regarding this own hardware and their different hardware vendors and all, and anything coming into your mind? Okay. So why OCI? So I have written some terms here. Suppose in terms of security. In terms of security also, they are using network isolation. In Gen 2 hardware, there is a very good network isolation. You will never face any network issue because of this isolation. Because your VM or your bare metal server is using multiple redundant environments, or multiple redundant the redundancy will be more in terms of your interconnect. Then defense in depth, you can say we are using everywhere encryption. Your data which is moving from your compute to storage will be encrypted at rest, encrypted in between also. And encryption can be Oracle providing, and if you want to use your encryption technology, you can also use it. So with terms of defense, it's highly secure, you can say. Then terms of performance is very interesting now. So I work mainly on Azure and OCI. So there are so many clients who are working on OCI and Azure interconnect both. So what is happening? We are having a 1 TB disk in OCI. We are having a 1 TB disk in Azure. First thing is that Azure disk is costly. Second thing is the performance is very poor. And in terms of performance, in OCI, we are getting some 5,000 IOPS. In Azure, we are getting 2,000 IOPS. So performance wise, there is no comparison between Azure and in OCI. OCI is far better than any cloud in terms of performance. So performance, bare metal plus local NVMe storage. So NVMe storage is, you can say, that storage will be part of your server only. There will be no different storage in the background, and you will have a bare metal server. So this performance, or you can say this is ideal for your databases. Bare metal plus local NVMe storage. It will provide you some 50,000 IOPS. It will give you all SSD storage. If you are not using NVMe also, then also our all storage is SSD, that solid state drive we are having. So you can say your I think I don't want to move into the storage because it will be boring for you guys, because like I'm from this background, that's why I can explain it in more depth, but it will be boring for you. Then no network CPU or memory over subscription. So we are not, this Oracle is not going to charge for your network or your memory. They are only going to charge for the CPU. You are using 1 CPU, 2 CPU, 3 CPU, 4 CPU, whatever it is. They are going to charge only for CPU. How much network you are using, it's up to you. How many VCN you are using, it's up to you. Subnets, whatever it is, it's up to you. Then third one is DB options. Yes, so in database we are having autonomous. In autonomous also we are having ADW and ATP, your autonomous data warehouse and your transaction processing. So it depends on the customer. If it is banking, it will go to ATP. It is going to, if it is a warehousing application, it will go to autonomous data warehouse. Then we are having database over bare metal server. Like you can have your server and you can install your database. That is your bare metal. Then same thing applies to virtual machine. You can create your virtual machine and by yourself you can install your database. Exadata is coming under as a Exadata service. RAC also, real application cluster, is coming as a service. Then data guard, golden gate, all these migration technologies also we have, or you can say migration from one region to another region, we can use data guard or your golden gate. And fourth one is your Oracle apps. A wide range of Oracle apps are there. You are from an industry, you are dependent somewhere in Oracle, and this thing will attract customer to move into cloud. Then in terms of business, yes, very aggressive pricing, you can say, or I can say some 60% cheaper than AWS and 40% cheaper than Azure, 20% cheaper than GCP. So these are terms which I heard from customers and from Oracle. Bishop. Bring your own license, BYOL, and universal cloud credits. So what is happening? Suppose you are running over a on-premise and you have paid for your license, or you have paid for your database license for next 4 years, or maybe for 1 year. So no need to worry. You can come to cloud, bring your license. Oracle will allow you the same license. They will allow you. It was applicable for Windows also, but from last month Microsoft stop this. Like if you are having on-premise Windows support, if you are moving to cloud, you have to again pay for that. Oracle cannot do anything. It common for all cloud provider. It is common for AWS also and for GCP also. They also have to suffer for that. Support through one organization, yes. Every support you will get from one organization, everything. I'll take one example. Suppose you are under Microsoft Azure and your operating system is having some issue. Maybe it may be Red Hat, Ubuntu, or your SUSE Linux. So Microsoft, what will they say? You need to pay me for this support. Then you need to pay again to get the support from SUSE. Then you need to open a case with Microsoft. Microsoft will open a case with SUSE. and there will be loop, and there will be delay in the solution, or there will be delay in the RCA. But in Oracle, open one SR, in the same SR, database engineer will also join, your Linux engineer will also come, your OCI network engineer will also come. They will work together and they will provide you solution. Then fourth point, SaaS on OCI. SaaS on OCI means, I told you earlier also, in the same cloud console, you will get everything. From the same console, you can create your instance, your bare metal server, your DBCS, your OAC, your EBS, anything. Fifth one is SLA on performance management and availability. You know, like no other cloud provider is providing SLAs on performance. Azure, what they will say, will give you only availability of 1 TB disk. They are not responsible for, they are not provide SLA for performance, but Oracle will provide. Oracle will tell you, I will give you 1 TB disk with 5,000 of IOPS in return, and if you are getting less IOPS, we will give you some waive off, or that will come under SLA. Yes, management and availability are provided by other cloud providers also, but Oracle is providing performance also. So that is the key thing, and that is happening because Oracle believes in their systems, because they are owning it. They are owning their hardware, they are owning their networking, and every layer they are managing it. That's why they are able to provide SLAs on performance. Any questions from this slide? If you want to compare any service with any other cloud, that also we can do here. Okay, so I am moving to, yes. So this is about OCI global footprint. So by May 2020, we are having 22 regions live. Obviously, Azure is having approx to 50, and AWS is also having approx to 50. But we have planned 14 in 2020. Like by end of 2020, we will have 36 live regions, and approximately 10 regions interconnect with Azure. And if you look into this map, the whole map, you can see in every country or in every continent, we are having at least 2 regions for DCDR. Suppose we are having Phoenix and Ashburn, we are having Toronto and Chicago. Then in Europe, you can see we are having London, we are having Frankfurt, now Amsterdam and Zurich also. In Middle East, although it's planned for UAE and Dubai, that is planned. For Israel, that will be a single only, because in Israel it's a small country and DR will be a very hectic task for anyone. And Saudi also, we are having, like Jeddah is already live, in Saudi 2 is also going to live soon. In India, we are having Mumbai and Hyderabad live on, I think, 1st of May only. In Japan, we already have Tokyo and Osaka, and in South Korea, we are having Seoul, and this one is planned. In Australia, we already have Sydney, Melbourne. So you can say everywhere in the world, our plan is to go for 2 regions in every continent, and in every country, 2 regions. That will provide you DC and DR. What you can do, you can put your data center in Mumbai, and you can put your DR or your disaster recovery into Hyderabad. So I hope this is clear. The data center and the data recovery is clear to everyone. If not, then I can explain what is data center applications and why should we go to DR. Should I explain it?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay, thanks. So in the DC and DR, what is happening? Suppose I'll tell you what is the requirement of DC and DR. So I think DC-DR comes in the market, or this terms comes in the market after the 9/11 attack in USA. So when 9/11 attack happened, so what happened? So so many people died, but with that, so many companies goes bankrupt because their data got lost. In the trade center, so many companies are having their data centers and their data, and that got lost. And in some terms of like when tsunami came in Indonesia, on that time also so many companies lost their data, and there was no backup because backup was in-house only. So now every industry, banking, telecom, every industry are going for DC and DR setup. DC means your data center, DR means your data recovery center. Suppose in Mumbai and Hyderabad, what is happening? I'll put my data center in Mumbai. If anything goes wrong in the Mumbai, suppose any tsunami came or anything can happen, any terrorist attack happen or anything. So at the same time, within some minutes, my Hyderabad region will go live. That's why we are planning to keep 2 data center in every country, and it's customer demand. In Mumbai, there are so many banking customers we have. Oracle is having so many banking customers, and all banking customer want their DR into any other region like Hyderabad or Bangalore or in Delhi. So that's why we are having 2 data centers. DCDR itself is a very big thing. You can say if you want to learn it, it's a very big thing. The connectivity, the RCO, the recovery time, and everything is very much interesting. Okay. I think we are fine with this chart, this Oracle footprint and the new planned thing. It should be fine. And why we are moving to 2 data centers in one country. Okay, so I'm moving to next slide. Yeah, OCI services. So these, like you can say, these 9 boxes will explain you complete cloud. What we have in the cloud. So first thing is that suppose you go to tenancy. So I think before going into these things, I should explain you what is tenancy, what is region, what is availability domain, what are the other things. But you can assume like we are coming directly into services. So whenever you are getting a tenancy or like whenever you are going into a cloud provider will give you a tenancy. We are naming it as a tenancy, or you can say suppose maybe any customer, suppose we are having gap, suppose, so they will give us a tenancy. So tenancy means complete isolation from any other. In the gap tenancy we will have our environment. So in the tenancy, whenever you will get a tenancy access, you will get a username and password with that will be admin username and password. After that you need to manage everything, and how you need to manage, that's what we are going to learn. So first of all, you need to learn this identity and access management. Before starting any environment or any infrastructure project, first of all, you need to decide how many people we need. Suppose we need DBAs, we need compute admin, we need storage admin, we need backup admins. So for those admin, what kind of access we need to give them? What kind of policies we need to write them? So first of all, we will write some policies. We will create some groups, and over the groups we will provide the users access. And in OCI we are having compartments also. Compartment, what is like the name says, you can say compartment, so it will be a separation between other things. So in a compartment, I'll take one example. Suppose you in your infrastructure you are having environment of production, development, your testing, or your acceptance. So what do you want to do? You want to separate these infrastructure. You don't want to give your production access to your development team. You don't want to give access of your pre-production to your testing team. So that's why what you are going to do, you are keeping your infrastructure into multiple compartment or multiple isolation things. So in the compartment, you will provide access to the concerned user only, like for production, for the production team, non-production team, like this. Okay, so these things we will learn into identity. I will give you examples also. I will give you a live demo. I will show you some production tenancy also, how it is happening, and we will give you free tenancy access also, so that you can go and you can create your policies, you can create your compartment, and you can do troubleshooting by your hand. Next is networking. Once the access management will set up, access management, although we can change as per the evolution of your tenancy, when the more people will join, you can add into the group and all things you can do. Later, you will do networking. Before starting anything, you should have a network setup. Your private, your cloud network, your subnets, your security list, your routing tables, your gateways, like which VCN need to connect to on-premise, which VCN need to connect to Azure, or which need to connect to AWS, like for the multi-cloud I'm telling you, and which need to connect to another region for remote peering, which VCN locally peering. So there are so many things in the networking. It's a very broad thing. So after setting up the network, we will go to compute. Compute, yes, you can choose your bare metals, your virtual machines, your containers, or your GPUs. GPU are the new addition of VMs that are having fastest processing units, your graphical processing unit, that are useful for some like the research team or your DRDO, or you can say this Pentagon houses. These people are using these GPUs. So in the compute, you need to set up your virtual machines, bare metal, installing your OS, and all will be taken care by Oracle itself. And they need to patch it. And if you want additional storage, suppose it may be your locally, your file storage, your object, whatever it is, then you need to assign storage. Storage itself is a broad topic. You need to learn about each storage, like your locally storage, in which, like in PeopleSoft, we are using file storage. In your OAC and other applications, we are using block storage. So with respect to application, you need to choose your storage. For the backup purpose, obviously you can choose your object and archive storage. Later, after completing the storage, now it's up to you. You want to install any application, you want to install WebLogic, you want to install database, that's up to you. You can choose it. Then in terms of services, database is coming. I already explained we are having bare metal VMs and Exadata. In terms of autonomous, we are having autonomous data warehouse and transactional processing. With respect to security, you can own your own security, your on-premise security. You can move to cloud, or you can use you can say Oracle provided security key management features also you can use. There are so many services like audit also. Suppose if anyone is doing anything into your cloud, like if any unauthorized person came and stopped the VM, then you can go into the audit, you can check it. Data movement, or you can say data transfers. So like suppose you are moving into cloud and you are on premise, you want to move your data to cloud, so how you will do it? So that can be taken with the data movement. There are so many things. We are having storage gateway, we are having data transfer utilities, so that we can move your data center data to your cloud. Edge services, I'm not going much into it because it's a very broad topic. In this, we can use Oracle DNS. You can move your own DNS to your cloud, or the email delivery, like if anything is happening to your computer, you will get an email alert. You will notify by your email. The complete automation will be there. Other edge services like your zone management and other things are also there in the cloud. So in the cloud, if you say all these things, so everything will be automated. Your monitoring will be automated, your patching will be automated, and you can say what else we are doing as an operation team. Whatever we are doing, most of the things are automated. So the manpower will be less. From anywhere in the world, you can monitor your environment. You can log in and you can do any admin activity. So anything from this slide, if you want anything from particular service, if you want to discuss more here, although we are going to describe each service, like each service will have some 7 to 8 days of timing for each service, like practice and all things. But if you want to learn only about one service, or you want any brief about any service, I can do now. I expect some questions here. Am I audible?
Yeah, Ankit. Can you explain more on security? Because what I'm asking is, so data, if I choose to move to cloud, my data will be transferred over the network, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, I'll get a question, how my data will be secure to the network will transfer.
Okay. Good. So, so one thing is, so there are two things. One is security and one is data movement. So I will collaborate both and I will explain you. When you are moving your data from your on premise to cloud, so what will happen? There are some ways. So first thing is that you don't want to take any risk. You can opt for data transfer utility, DTU we are calling it as. So what will happen? Oracle person will come. They will take your data into a hard disk. They will lock it. You will know that lock. Okay. In a safe box, they will put the disk, transfer it to the Oracle data center. In the Oracle's data center, you will tell them the lock, and they will put their data into your tenancy. This is the one way. When you are having some petabytes of data and you don't want to take any risk, and if you are not believing in internet, you can opt it. This is the one utility. Second utility is storage NAS gateway. So what it will do, it will take your data on premise into blocks, it will convert into files, encrypt it, and move it to cloud via fast connect or your IPsec VPN. What will happen in the cloud? It will decrypt it, move into NAS to your files to block, and it will put into your tenancy. So the security will be there with the storage NAS gateway. There are some other ways also. When you are having some 100 GB of data, some 500 GB of data, important data, and if you want to move to cloud, so what you can do, you can connect a IPsec VPN. IPsec VPN, as the name only says, it will be completely encrypted by 256 encryption code, and your data will be encrypted at beginning, decrypted at rest, and when they will put the data into object storage, that also in the encrypted form. And from the object storage will be part of your tenancy. You can download that data into your server or your VM and you can use it. So these are some 3 to 4 ways we can transfer the data securely. Everything will be encrypted at rest, in transit, and at starting point. And if you want to use your encryption algorithm, you can use that one also.
So in this way, data will be encrypted both at the network level and data level, right?
Yes. At network layer, like IPsec VPN itself is an encrypted layer. It will be a private connection. It will not. It will be a public connection over internet, but that will be you can say encrypted. And there is one more way, that is fast connect. Fast connect is little bit, you can say, costly, and fast connect will be a dedicated connection between your data center and your on your cloud. So there will be no, like, internet will not be involved there. That will be a dedicated network. So you can use fast connect also. Fast connect usually we use for more data. When the data capacity is huge, then we will use fast connect. It can give you speed up to 10 Gbps, and VPN is provide you some 250 Mbps speed. So VPN we will use for smaller data. That depends, like, what is your capacity, what kind of data you have. Accordingly we can take decision for data movement. More questions? It means maybe you are understanding everything or you are not understanding. This is the case. So guys, tell me, like, I'm more fast, you didn't understand anything, or you understand everything? What happened? Okay, so I will explain this slide also for you guys, then we will wrap up for today. So this slide I'm taking because it will give you a general idea, like what is the reason, what about availability domain, and what are fault domains. So because every time I will take name of these terms. So before this, you should know what all are these things. So region means, you can say, uh, suppose Mumbai is a one region or Hyderabad is a one region. It will be separated for some miles, some 500 miles, or you can say some thousand of kilometers difference between between each region. One region can have multiple availability domain, up to 3. From 1 to 3 it can have availability domain. Availability domain is nothing but a separate data center. Suppose in Mumbai we can have 3 data center. Suppose one is in some other place and some in 20 kilometer away from that, and some 20 kilometer away from that. I don't know about the places in Mumbai. You can assume yourself, or you can say in Delhi, one can be in South Delhi, one can be in North, and one can be in West Delhi. So in this way we can distribute our data center among 3 data centers. So this is availability domain. These data centers are interconnected with Oracle Fiber. They are not interconnected via electricity and everything. Everything will be independent here. Only thing is they are connected via a good fiber connectivity. Then fault domains. In one availability domain, or you can say in every availability domain, we are having 3 fault domains. Fault domains, you can think in your mind, suppose you are having a data center. In one data center, we are having so many racks. And racks also, we divide it into multiple things like floor A, floor B, floor 3. So you can say one floor, I'm just assuming it, don't take it seriously, like don't take it in hard words. I'm just assuming it. So in one floor, we are providing separate electricity, separate UPS system, separate networking. Another floor also separate. So every rack or every floor is protecting against failures. If electricity goes down, UPS goes down, one floor can be down, but another floor will be remain up. So whenever you are running any application, suppose you are running a rack. So what you can do, you can choose one server of rack into one fault domain and another into another fault domain. So if this goes down, this will be up. So your application will be highly available. It will not goes down in terms of any failure with respect to infrastructure failure. For suppose you are having a rack and anyone has done something here, your application will be available in this one. It may be operating system failure, it may be any you can say electricity, your networking, or your hardware failure. Maybe some RAM goes faulty, your CPU goes faulty in this machine, it will go down, but your application will be running here with the cluster. So whenever you are going to design your environment, you need to think in terms of fault domain. Then you need to think in terms of availability domain. Suppose if anything goes wrong and one data center goes down, one data center means there's some fire will happen, or one data center is down. So what will happen? You are having running your application on another data center, that will be fine. And suppose these availability domains, you can say these are Mumbai regions. So what will happen? Any earthquake will come and Mumbai is completely destroyed. So that you should have another region where your applications are running. So these are called highly available design. Okay. So Oracle is having everything here. They are having highly available. They are having DCDR setup also. Everything they have in their environments. Any questions from this slide? If you want to know about more about these regions, domains, fault domains, availability domain, and these things are common. Region is everywhere common. In Azure, it's availability zone, it's availability set. So these things will be common everywhere, but the naming convention will be changed. If after learning Oracle Cloud you think, no, I'm not getting that much scope in Oracle Cloud, I should move to AWS or I should move to Azure, you need not to attend any training. You just go there, start working there. You will come to know, oh, there we were having availability domains. Here we have availability zone. There we have fault domains. Here we have availability set. Fine. So you can compare and you can learn. So I started my career with OCI and I started working on Azure without any training. Everything is same. Here you can say virtual cloud network. There we have virtual network. That's it. Other things are common. Everywhere, everything is common. Okay. So I think there are some chats. So any question from today, because I want to wrap up now. I think I need to take some names. Arvind, Lakshmikant, Ravi, Srinivasa, Surya, Vamshi. Any questions you have? D and hi also. So can we close now for today? If you don't have more questions.
Yeah, when will be the next session?
That depends on, I think, the organizer. You can ask to Visual Path. So for the next session, like whoever is going to join the session, I want their background details not in terms of company, but their terms of skills. What are the skills they have and what are their expectations? Accordingly, I will modify this content as per your expertise and as per your requirement.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for asking.
Thanks, and
Thank
Thank you. Thank you.
thank you.